Hey, and welcome back, everyone. I wanted to give an update today on some information related to CCC Tech Connect, and specifically the issue of Zoom recordings. You recall a couple months ago, Tech Connect sent out a message saying that we were over our limit as a state. So Tech Connect is hosting all our Zoom accounts for the California community colleges. So I just received this email today, and I think this is particularly a concern to us because their plan is to try to reduce some of this allotted capacity issue, that they will start removing old recordings in your Zoom account beginning on June 30th. So we have a few months to do this. But the key here is that any recording that was done prior to August 15th, 2020 will automatically be deleted. So that could be really a concern if you've been using some of your recordings within Zoom using that persistent link, which is really handy. Even though you have a link and even though you're sharing that with your class or your department on campus, anything that is recorded prior to August 15th, 2020 will go away. So as an example, in my Zoom account, when I click on the Recordings tab, and this is, by the way, where you would find all your recordings. You could search by the date up here. You could also search by the name. So in my case, if I go and I need to purge some of these, back to when we were first doing a lot of these Zoom trainings, like my discussions in Canvas training going back to March 22nd, 2020, that will be deleted starting again on June 30th, 2021. So anything that is prior to August 15th, 2020. So I will talk about how to remedy this issue, but basically you can no longer share these from Zoom if they have that date as noted in that email. So we'll talk today about some strategies to reduce the clutter in your recordings, and then we'll discuss how you can then take any of the files, particularly those video files that you have downloaded, and how you can now upload those to one of two services that I'm going to recommend. So one note that you might want to look at first is your settings for your recordings. And I'll mention this because in some cases, and to get here, just click on your settings and then click on recording, and all your recording settings are here. If you have the options selected here to record all of the various views, which includes the active speaker, gallery view, shared screen view, and your audio file, you will get more files to download. And so it's something to keep in mind. Also, if you have this here, which I have set up on mine, optimize the recording for third-party video editing, it records it at a higher quality, and that allows you, if you want to bring it into a program like Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro or whatever video editing you're using out there, it allows you to have a higher quality file, in this case of that video file. And then up here, it allows you to have more versions. So you can have the different versions and incorporate those as you do your editing in your video program. If you haven't gone in and touched any of these, it's probably fine. It means that you're just getting that one main view from your Zoom session that has your shared screen in the middle, and then you have your gallery view typically on the right-hand side. So if you haven't adjusted any of these, it's probably not a big deal, but this is just where to go if you're concerned about getting too many files being saved in your recordings. Again, go back to your Recordings tab, and what you'll see here is that if I go back to those early recordings, I was just saving that main shared screen with speaker view. And you can see for an hour recording, that's running at this quality about half a gigabyte, close to 500 megabytes. So that's not super big as far as storage. One of the things we'll talk about today is exactly how you will save these files such that you can continue to use them in your classes or your trainings. Now, if I go back to my latest recordings, very recent, and these are always, you'll see the most recent recordings are up at the beginning, and then it goes through your older recordings if you continue to click through. And again, I need to purge some of this. But you see here that it's a lot more storage. So this is about 4 gigabytes of storage, and this is why I think Tech Connect has sent out this message, because if more and more people are saving the multiple views of your video recordings from Zoom, that's going to really clog our storage. Do the math. If you never purge any of these and you have multiple gigabytes, do that across all the faculty and staff in the California community colleges. That's a lot of storage for sure. So to show you here, because I now have 9 different files versus a few files, I have my shared screen with gallery, with speaker, speaker view, gallery view, shared screen, audio only, audio transcript, chat file, and closed captioning file. So that's a lot of files. The ones that take up the most space obviously would be these. And again, for about an hour recording, it was around 1 gigabyte per file, and that's pretty standard. So the concern is going to be, as you take any of the files that you want, save them to the computer as step 1. Step 2 is hosting those outside of Zoom. Because again, if you host these in Zoom, they eventually will go away just because of that issue with Tech Connect deleting old recordings. So the first thing you can do to get started on this is download any and all the files that you want to your computer. Again, if you choose this link here, you have a shareable link, but that doesn't do you any good once Tech Connect starts to purge the files. Their email again is saying that they're going to do this starting on June 30th, 2021, and they're doing any videos that are prior to August 15, 2020. I suspect they'll continue to do that as they manage their capacity and storage. If they continue to have issues, maybe they will truncate that date and say it's going to be any videos recorded prior to December of 2020. So it's just something to keep in mind. So you don't want to get in the situation where you're relying on Zoom as your repository for all your videos, because once those start to go away, you no longer have access to them. And that's really my concern in terms of the timeliness of getting this video out to everyone on campus. So what you would do here is download any and all the files that you want. So if you just want your one video file, you would click here and click on that download button. Once you do that, it starts to download it to your computer, and you can kind of see the progress of that depending on your operating system here on the toolbar. So that's just showing you that it's downloading the file. It's a fairly large file, and so actually that will take a bit. I might just cancel that. Or I guess I'll let it go here. It's going pretty fast. So this will just show you the status of that. And then once that file is downloaded, depending on how you download on your operating system, you just want to be able to find that file because we're going to be using that in just a second. So step 1 is going to involve you going through all your recordings. And if you've named your Zoom sessions, which I think typically you do, if it's a personal meeting room, those are listed here. And if you've named all those, it'll be pretty easy to find exactly the files that you need. Once you find those, click on that title and then decide if you want to download all the files, which would be right here, or download just one file at a time, and that is that button here. Again, you're not really going to be using this link button because my encouragement is to really say you shouldn't be linking to your Zoom files because Tech Connect, I think, has just hit their capacity in terms of statewide storage. So really the smart thing to do is to get any Zoom files out of Zoom as soon as you can possibly do that within reason. Again, we have some time since the message is saying it's only those videos prior to August 15th. But I think it's a good idea to get caught up on this so you don't run into any issues in the future. So step 1 is to go through your Zoom recordings, decide on which files you want to download those files to your desktop. Now, you can download these to an external drive. On my particular computer, I have quite a few drives plugged in here. I have a drive just for all my music files. I have another drive just for all my video files. It gets very large saving video files. They're just high capacity files in terms of data, in terms of storage. So you have to just kind of deal with that fact. What you would do next is you would want to find your files. So in my case, I'll go to my downloads folder. Again, if you did a download to your hard drive, find that file. It's going to vary on operating system to operating system, so I can't really sort of talk about a standard there. And if you download it to an external drive, you would just like me here, I would want to find it on the external drive, wherever that might be. You can also, of course, once you download that file, which is here, and if I just do a preview, you'll see the file will pop up here. It's just one of my training videos. Okay. So I have found that file. And at this point, I have a choice, right? I can leave it on my desktop. Now, depending on, or put it in a folder somewhere on your computer, depending on some of your storage issues, you may not want to do that because you start to really eat up space on your computer. If you're doing a lot of video editing like I do, I am always pulling files in and then editing those files, rendering them in my video software, and then purging it. Even the rendering process on my computer takes up, sometimes I will discover 1 terabyte of storage has been sucked up by just those rendering files. If you're not doing video editing, it's probably a little less of a concern. So this depends on the storage abilities of your computer or your hard drives. So, once you have this file, you can certainly say, I'll save it on my desktop, I'll save it in a folder, or I will save it on a hard drive. And that's perfectly fine. That step is really easy. It'll take you a few minutes to download those video files from Zoom. Step 2 is a little more challenging. So step 2 is saying we need this video file for the purposes of sharing with our class or sharing with our department for a training. So it might have been a Zoom session you recorded that was a tutorial taking students or department members, department staff through some sort of training or software, whatever that happens to be. So you need this file and you need to share it with the outside world. So to accomplish that, I'll suggest one of 2 ways of doing this. And I won't say one is easier than the other because they're both equally easy in terms of the steps involved. So I'm just going to keep my video file handy on my desktop. You can't see it there, it's off screen, but that way I can show you how I'm going to upload it. So what we want to accomplish here is to be able to have a shareable link just like we were doing in Zoom, but now since those files are going away, if it hits that date as stipulated by Tech Connect, it means those files are gone forever. And once they're gone, you have to re-record them. So it's really my advice to go in immediately as soon as you can. Maybe do it over the break if you have some extra time if you're faculty, just to make sure you're not losing anything. And it'll only take a few minutes to download the files. This next step could take you a little bit longer. So the next step is making sure that anyone that we need to have access to these Zoom sessions will have access. So option 1 is to use the built-in Canvas Studio. I've done quite a few videos on Canvas Studio, and I definitely recommend that you check those out. And I've done at least 2 videos, one on Canvas Studio Media, which is probably pretty pertinent for this. It talks about saving and using media in Canvas Studio. I'll try to share those links. If you need additional links, you could go to my YouTube channel or teachingandlearning.com to get that information. So I think Canvas Studio is pretty easy to use, so it would be a good recommendation to use this to store your videos and then share them with the outside world. So to get started on this, again, you'll go to your main Canvas login. At the bottom, it should be the second tab from the bottom. Click on Studio. And Canvas Studio will have all your current videos. And one of the cool things about Canvas Studio is you can create collections. What I like about this is if you have multiple videos that you've downloaded from your recordings tab on Zoom. You might have, if you're teaching sociology, you have all your soc videos. If you're teaching anthropology, you have all your anthro videos. You might be teaching different classes. So maybe if you're teaching your accounting class versus your microeconomics class, you want to differentiate all your micro videos from your accounting videos. So to accomplish that, I really do recommend using the collections button here. You can name your collection. And if I wanted, for all my Soc 101 videos, I could click Create. And then at that point, I could begin to add videos. And so I could add videos externally, or I can also add them from YouTube. You can also go back to your library, and you can take any of the videos you've already recorded or loaded in here and move them. So I can move them to my Soc 101 collection, I can move them to Anthro 106 collection, Anthro 102 collection, and then right from this menu you can click New Collection and add that immediately. So collections are really a great way to index your videos into different sections so you don't get confused. Now of course, and mine are bad examples here actually, some of these are labeled like Anthro 106 welcome video, but some of these are just tests, and to be quite honest, I need to delete these. Anything I want to delete, I just always click this toolbar here with the 3 dots. It allows you to delete, change your thumbnail, move it to a new collection or previous collection, share the media, and then create a video quiz. But if I delete it, then that is gone forever. So remember, just like with Zoom, once the videos are gone, they're gone here in Canvas Studio. You cannot retrieve them. You can always at any time download a video, and that happens by clicking on that video, on view, and then you get some new choices here for sharing, for downloading, and so forth. And it's this sharing tab that we're really interested in today, because once we create a public link, all we have to do is share it. We have our code here to embed it just using a text embed. If we want to do an actual embed code, then makes it look a little nicer, we can do that as well. So that's kind of cool, and we can look at that in a second too if we want to see just how to embed one of these in your Canvas class, such as in a page or in a module. So this right here allows you to download it. Once you click that, you'll also see that indication that that file is beginning to download. From what we know, right now with Canvas Studio, we won't be losing access to videos. I think any questions you might have about storage and capacity, we could talk offline. I believe there's a 20 gigabyte limit, and I was going to say that's pretty good for most people. But if you have high quality, high resolution video files, and you have a number of those, that could start to eat away at our capacity. And I can refer some of those questions to Treva as well, as she's our Canvas administrator, would know more about this. If that does become an issue in the future, my option 2 will be to go to YouTube, and YouTube has practically unlimited capacity for storing of videos, so that should not be a concern. But so just to go back to our main menu, these again will have all your various videos. So to get a video into Canvas Studio, it's very easy to do. If I want to record, I can record my various views of my screen or my webcam. I would click record. I could also search here. But what you'll be doing is clicking on the Add tab. And this is going to be adding any media, not doing a direct recording. It's something that's already directly recorded by you in some fashion. You can load in a YouTube video. I don't personally see the need for this. It's kind of just adding unnecessary storage. YouTube is already a repository for videos. So why would we want to clog up Canvas Studio with videos that we can link to via YouTube? So I actually recommend against this, because I just don't want to see us clog up all our storage like we're encountering with the CC Tech Connect accounts for Zoom. So what I would do here is I can either drag or drop, so I can take that file that I already have, and I will do this and it'll start to upload it, or I can hit browse. And so I'm just going to find the title of that media that I downloaded from Zoom. It was GMT. It's just titled based on the time of the meeting, Greenwich Mean Time, I think is what that is saying. I click choose for upload. I do that, and then we'll get the upload indication here. It does take a few minutes to do this. It also takes a few minutes for the video to be available, and then it takes a little longer time for the transcription to take place in terms of closed captioning. So once that video is ready, it'll indicate that fact, and what you could do then is, let's pretend this was the one I uploaded. I could view that. Again, I could download it, I could delete it, I could also do any of the comments that I might want if I'm doing this with my students. And again, Canvas Studio has some really handy video tools that I think are not available in other places, including YouTube. So really recommend using it. Now, I will then click my share button. And at this point, I can add it by a name of a person. So students in the class, I would assume if you're teaching a class, you'd want to have this for everybody. So an easy way to do that is to click on the links. Let's look at the two types of links. So I will just select all that, and I can hit my command. I could either do this on my mouse or trackpad, or I could hit Option Command C, and then I've copied that. And then let's go to a sample page. We'll just create one here in Canvas in my class. And I'll call this video test page. And then the very easy thing to do is I go right here, and I could again call this something. I could say, please watch my lecture. Let's pretend that's a lecture. And I do a few hard returns, hit the paste, Option Command V, whatever that is on your keyboard. And you'll notice here it isn't linked. So you could do one of two things. You could copy that again, or you'll actually have that in your it'll already be available, and then you could hit this link button here and then paste that in and hit done, and then you see the kind of universal, it is underlined, and so therefore it's linked. We're seeing right now the new rich text editor for Canvas, and we've done a few workshops on this. We may need to do a few more, but very easy to use now. You have to get used to the new features. If you want to remove the link, just click remove. The easy thing to do in that step, going through this and adding the link this way, it added actually a few clicks, and I don't have to do that. If I just hit the return key right now, it auto puts in the link, which is just the default link right there. Once I hit save and publish, when I click on this, it now links directly to that video in my Canvas Studio media. So that's really, really, really easy to share with your students or your department colleagues. I'll show you one other way of doing this. So we'll delete that, and let's go back to our original media, and we're actually going to copy this time the embed code. So the embed code is going to do a little bit of formatting, as you can see here with the HTML write-up. It's giving some indication here, if you're familiar with HTML, about the height and the width of the frame that's going to show, and then it's linking to the video. This is a pretty simple HTML code that's really only defining the link and then the size of the frame that will be displayed. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit Command Option Copy. Going to hit Done or Cancel, doesn't matter. Let's go back to our test page. So in this case, we'll be using the Embed tool in the Rich Content Editor. Again, this is brand new. If you're having trouble finding things, I recommend you just poke around. In fact, I was looking the other day trying to find the Insert video, and that was actually found now under Tools, under Apps. So things have changed around a little bit. You can also find the Canvas Studio tool there, and once you click on that, it's going to bring you directly to all your media, and then that's also an easy way to directly embed that video. And then once you do that, it should do it as a frame format along with the comments view, and I can hit save on that, and it'll appear right there. So that's another easy way actually to do the thing I'm going to show you now, which will actually cut the step of having to deal with that embed code. I'll just select that to delete that, but again, that's found under Tools and Apps, and then click Canvas Studio. So very easy to embed that way. The other way is to click on this icon here. That is your HTML embed tool. Click on this, hit the embed code, or paste it rather, hit submit, and it'll do the same thing. It'll put the view of that frame version of the video from Canvas Studio. And it's right there. Now note in this version, it's showing you the video itself, but it didn't do actually the comment view. So if you want the comment view to be included, particularly if you're having students annotate videos in your class and work on comments together, sort of as a global write-up tool for your assignments, then embed it with the tool. Click on Tool, click on Apps, click on Canvas Studio, select the video that you would like to embed, hit embed, and again here you can choose the embed options, which you can't do in the other versions of sharing the video in your Canvas page. So if you want all this to be displayed, if you want to have a download option, select those to green and hit embed. And then once I hit save, you'll see all the comments are also included here. And that's kind of nice because what's really cool about it is it allows for real-time annotation of the video at different points on the timeline. So really nice, I think, if you want to use this for a teaching tool where students will be working with you hand in hand on a video and doing comments on it. So that's how you would embed it using the tools of Canvas Studio. So again, for this option 1, we downloaded the video. We went to our main Canvas Studio page, which is always found here on your toolbar in Canvas. We then added the video into our Canvas Studio, and then we embedded it in one of those different ways in a Canvas Studio page that we can share in our modules here in our Canvas class. Now, the second way is, I think, equally easy, and that is going to be to go to YouTube. You do need a YouTube account. It's totally free to sign up for one. And YouTube, again, has almost infinite storage capacity. I have 1,500 videos or something crazy like that, so I haven't run out of room. And I'm constantly going in and working on these. And what I like about YouTube is I think it's really presented to the outside world more as a formal display of videos with titling. It's more sophisticated if you want to share things with the outside world, if you want to collect analytics. You have many more choices over the privacy settings. You can go in and really do a lot more with the video in general in terms of all your settings. If you want to set up meta tags, here you can do that. You can set up location of your videos. You can do categorization and everything else. So if you're serious about this, if you want to use videos in your professional work, whatever that is, teaching or otherwise, you want to have a channel that also promotes some of your other professional work, I definitely recommend signing up for a YouTube channel. If you're interested in this, you can always click on, and I will get you the link, YouTube The Basics. And that is my video taking you through all the various ins and outs of YouTube. This is all time indexed, so if you want to look at this, you could simply click on any of the time indices and you'll be taken to that section. And I definitely recommend this video if you want to learn more about YouTube and understanding what a YouTube channel is and how to get started with it. So what we'll just cover today, though, is the fact that if you have a YouTube channel, you would go through very much the same steps in terms of uploading that video to your YouTube channel. So what I would do is I would click on the Create button at the top, and then right here, I would click on Upload Video, just like Canvas Studio. Take a second here, and then I could either choose that same file that I downloaded from Zoom, drag and drop it here, or old-fashioned way, select file, click on that here, and then hit choose for upload. And it will begin the process. Once that's done, I have a lot more features, choices here to name it, to set my privacy, and so forth. And so I could decide that I'm actually going to cancel this since I'm not going to save this. But one cool thing that just happened in the last day I discovered, and literally I'm on YouTube daily, so this is kind of the thing that I pass on to you because I use it so often. They're now doing a new thing that before they even process the video on YouTube, the image and audio algorithms that detect copyright infringement will actually kind of kick in prior to the video being saved to the site. So it actually saves you a step because they want to, I think, nip it in the bud a little bit in terms of making sure that you don't have any infringement of copyright. And it's very sophisticated what YouTube does. So I guess that's one maybe potential disadvantage of this, although if you have copyrighted materials, a lot of the times YouTube will allow you to keep them as long as you allow for ads on your YouTube channel. But that's getting into a little bit more detail about having a YouTube channel. So if you're not doing this, just doing Canvas Studio, you don't even have to listen to this part of the video. But just like Canvas Studio, that video will get saved. And then all I would do is find my video, and these are some draft videos I just recorded here. And then I will click on the video link here, copy video link. Okay, once I've done that, I would go back to my test page, just like I did before. And I have quite a few options, as I did with Canvas Studio, really 2 or 3 different ways of getting the video in there. The easiest way is I could copy the link and again hit my return key, and it automatically will populate that page with that video. It doesn't look so great, but if I click on it, it starts playing it for me almost immediately. So that's one way of doing it. The second way, and this really parallels with Canvas Studio, is to again go to Tools, click on Apps, and click on YouTube. And what will come up is a search feature, so I could type something in if I'm actually looking for a topic like anthropology. It actually auto-filled at Lake Tahoe Community College, which is one of our videos. And then what I could do is I could embed that video immediately, so I can embed the small version of the video. Hit save, and you see it looks a little bit nicer, I think, in terms of the formatting. So that's option 2 to do the embed. I can go in and delete that again. Option 3 will be our embed code using HTML. And to get to that, you actually have to click on a different part of the video. You have to click on the main page where the video loads. And at that point, I would click the share button. And then I specifically want the embed code. So click on that, and then I can just hit the copy, and it'll copy it to my clipboard. And you see it's going to have the frame and all that kind of stuff. I go back to my page, I'll click on my HTML write-up, markup, embed icon. I will just paste that in there, hit submit, hit save, and you see it's a larger version of that particular video. So just like with Canvas Studio, there are really 3 ways of doing it, and I think they're all equally easy in terms of including this on your Canvas page within a module. So those are the 2 options for today. Again, really the goal of this recording today was to get the word out that we are under a bit of a time constraint. By June 30th, 2021, any video recorded prior to August 15th, 2020 will go away. So we talked about then, because of that, the need to go into your recordings, look at the date stamp on these. Anything that is affected, I recommend you download immediately. We talked about some different ways to download that file to your computer or to an external hard drive. Once you've done that and you want to share that with the outside world, you could go either to Canvas Studio, load the video in there, and then have that as an available link for your students by just clicking on the video and getting your link. And then you could also do the same by uploading it to YouTube if you have a YouTube page. So I just think it's really important to make sure that we're aware that these videos are going away and we don't want to lose them, particularly if they contain important lectures or information that you don't want to lose that you recorded with your students and so forth. Now, speaking of students, there is one concern still out there, I think. I really recommend my video called FERPA and Class Recordings. One of the things we realize is that if we record the view of our students in Zoom that has a gallery view, and you can see the names of the students and also the actual images of those students. Because those students have not given you consent, you cannot share those with the outside world. So one advantage of using Canvas Studio is you would say, it's only my class viewing those videos. It does present a problem. When you reshare those videos with your next class, so if I'm teaching my accounting class in winter and I teach it again in spring, and I have a lecture, and in that lecture, you can see the images of the students, which would be identifiable, and or both, or the images and the name of the students under their profile in their video tab. And I reshare those in the spring quarter with my new class. FERPA is very clear that even though it's at the same college, those students are not in the same class, and those students have not authorized you to share their images with your next class. So theoretically, by the rule of the law, if you do that, even though it's in Canvas Studio and it's not available to people outside of your class, your winter class and then your spring class, it's still a violation of FERPA. So that actually gets into some issues that I delve into in this video, and we won't talk about them, but it might be a good opportunity to check in with me and talk about some of the solutions. Unfortunately, the only solution to that is when you're doing a recording to try to make sure that you're not showing the images of your students, the video and their names, or you take those files and then in post-production in a video program, you crop out the information that's showing you specific to your students. If you're only sharing that video with the class that you're currently teaching and you'll never share it again with another class, it's not going to violate FERPA, because every student who is in a class at the same time does, if you will, give their rights by taking that class to let other students in the class know that they're in that class. It doesn't include all information, right, like personal information, but their video and their name, that is available because students are working together, collaborating in the class. The problem comes up with FERPA when you reshare that video in that next class. And I was going to say Canvas Studio allows you to not share it with the outside world, as does YouTube, if you have the settings correct. But the problem is, if you're sharing it with another class the next quarter, those students from the previous class did not give you consent to do that. So the solution really would be to create the video while you're recording it in such a way that you do not show the specific images of students. And we can talk about how to do that, including going to your Zoom settings and making sure that you download specifically maybe some of the different options for what that video is going to look like. And again, these are all the various video options, and it's one way to get around this. Another way is when you're recording the video to make sure that the students are not appearing, and there are different ways to do that. And then, of course, another way, which is the most technical, what we're talking about here, is to go in and actually download the file and edit it in a video editing software. So that is the hardest to do in terms of dealing with some of these FERPA issues. So I think for that part, let's talk offline, but that is one concern certainly about sharing a video in Canvas Studio in subsequent quarters in your class, because the students appear from one class in one quarter and appear again in another class, and thus that does actually pose a FERPA violation. So we can talk about some of that offline in terms of some of those options, but I wanted to give you a heads up here again. If you want this email, let me know. It came today on the 25th, Thursday, from Tech Connect, and again, it's just a warning about the videos going away starting on June 30th, 2021. So good luck. If you have questions, if you get stuck on the technology, I feel pretty comfortable answering any and all technology questions here related to your video recordings and how to work with those for the future, as this issue is coming up with storage related to our Zoom account with CCC Tech Connect. So thanks for listening. I'll be back with more videos.